Welcome everybody to the mighty Yarra Valley on this beautiful sunny winter's day. We're here, as you can see, at the Bortoli family winemakers. We are going to go in and we're going to have a chat with the winemaking team about the history and the pedigree of this very, very well-established, long-running family-run winery here. And stay tuned for this beautiful episode on the Wine Animal YouTube. Welcome everyone to the Wine Animal YouTube channel. I'm here with Yarra Valley icon, Steve. We're at the Bortoli. We're down here in the barrel room, one of the many barrel rooms. And Jai's back there getting us something to try so we don't have an empty glass. We're just here to talk about the next generation of winemaker and why they come through here and what Steve hopes to impart. So without any further ado, I'll introduce Steve. So very welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to be on this with me. It really does mean a lot. And if you'd like to introduce yourself a little bit, and then sure. I know you, but you know, the rest of us don't. So please go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, look, my name's Steve Webber. I've been here for 38 years or thereabouts, so a long period of time. Older than some of these young winemakers that we've got working for us, of course. Yeah, look, it's you know, we've had a lot of really fantastic, you know, sort of young winemakers come through here over the years. You know, people of the likes of, you know, Dave Bicknell and Tim O'Meara and you know, Paul Bridgman and Sarah Fagan and those sort of people. And you know, they've all contributed enormously to the fabric of this place and the wine styles and things like that. And hopefully, you know, Jai and our daughter Kate are going to be, you know, part of that same sort of thing, bringing new ideas. Hopefully, you know, with some of my experience, I can sort of nurture them through the way, but generally I learn more off them than I do, you know, sort of contribute myself. So, you know, I think in a lot of ways, you know, they have new ideas and, you know, we're hopefully on a really exciting journey.
And so you mentioned Kate, your daughter. It's a shame that she can't join us today. There's a lot of sickness going around.
Yeah.
So, but that's awesome that she's followed in your footsteps almost. Did you sort of push her down that path, or do you think it was sort of for her, she sort of found the path on her own and thought that this is where she wanted to be?
Oh, I think a bit of both.
Okay.
You know, I think you've got to sort of push them in a certain direction. I mean, she didn't really enjoy wine until she met this very good-looking Burgundian winemaker that gave her a tasting. So, so that was sort of pretty funny. She sort of, you know, she sent a note, or we were talking on the phone, and she said, "Do you know, I was out in the vineyards the other day with this guy, and he was, you know, showing us this, and this." And I said, "Oh yeah, we've been doing that for bloody years, you know." So,
yeah, it's different when it happens in Burgundy, doesn't it?
It is,
changes. And then obviously you've got Jai here now, who's sort of, you know, come in. And I mean, even when we were here a couple of weeks ago, I felt that, you know, Jai really took control of, you know, showing me around,
yes,
and giving me the insight on what he was trying to achieve and what he wanted to achieve. And if there was, you know, I mean, there's probably more than one thing you would want to instill on these people, but you know, what do you hope for the next gen, this new wave that I like to refer to them as, coming through the winemaking and viticulture journey? Because it's all in one. What do you hope what do you hope that you can leave for them as like a lasting memory? I mean, I know it's a hard question, sorry.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's probably a little different for Jai as opposed to Kate. Kate's sort of, you know, this next generation of winemaker. Jai hopefully will get, you know, 3 to 5 years out of him before he goes on and does his own venture. Mm. I'm not kicking you out, Jai, but but you know, it's that sort of, you know, it's that type of thing. And Jai gets to sort of, you know, he gets to experiment here, where, you know, perhaps if he was running his own thing, he couldn't maybe experiment as much and things like that. And I think he'll learn a lot from that, and I think we'll learn a lot from that as well. And I think, you know, we're in a really exciting sort of stage of our development with, you know, a lot of new vineyards going in and that sort of stuff. So I think the experience they get from you know, that sort of viticultural input and, you know, stuff like that. A lot of the new, you know, plantings, clonal material that we're sort of trialing, and then bringing them, you know, back into the winery and making small plots of those things, and yeah, looking at the differences. And I think it's exciting times.
All right, so last question for you. All right, well, it's actually 2 questions actually.
Yes. Favorite
grape to make wine with, and favorite grape to drink? I'm not going to ask you for your favorite wine. That's too hard. You probably drunk more wines than you can even pick a stick at.
Yeah, sure. Oh, look, my favorite grape is Pinot Noir. I think it's a really exciting, it's an exciting grape variety for the Yarra Valley, and particularly certain vineyards and aspects in the Yarra Valley. And I think I'll sort of I'll carry it forward and say it's my favourite wine to drink as well.
That's perfect answer. So I really do appreciate your time. Obviously, like, it means a lot to me personally and to everybody watching. We hope you get a little insight here from Steve. But as I said, the episode is all about the next gen and about the younger people who are a lot younger than me even. It makes me feel old when I say how old Jai is, and why his journey has brought him here. And we're going to bring him in because he's been standing over there with a glass of wine ready for us for the whole time. So cheers, Jai.
Cheers.
And that was a horrible cheers, but we can get that later. But I'd like to introduce you all to Jai. And I thought that when I was here last time with Jai and we spent a few hours here walking through, I just felt this real energy and passion and drive. And I don't find that level in everybody that I meet in wine. There's a lot of people that have great passion, great drive, but there's not a lot of people that have it in such spades and from such a genuine place. That's what I truly honestly felt. I'm not trying to pump his tires up or anything like that, because I only met him the first time a few weeks ago. So, and I mean, I had no idea who you were really, let's be honest, right? But it was really impressive to me, and I'm sure that's probably what Steve saw, early on, is that like enthusiasm. It's not just youthful enthusiasm, it's actually like passion. And I'd love to introduce you, and I'd love for you to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and your background and how you landed here in the beautiful Yarra.
So I'm Jai Harrop. I guess I'm a second generation vineyard now. My parents are both in the wine industry, and probably are most responsible for my partaking in the wine industry. I mean, I grew up with it and have the earliest memories of adventuring and hanging out at my dad's winery. And yeah, we always had wine on the table as kids, and I just loved it from there. And yeah, I guess it's always been a part of my life, and I think it feels very natural to me. So yeah, I love it. And you're right, I am very passionate about winemaking and wine drinking and just the whole scene. Like, it's epic. And I think, you touch on the young people coming through. There's a really strong community, and I think part of wanting to come to the Yarra Valley is knowing that community is there for young people. There's a lot of really talented young winemakers and viticulturists coming up into it. I sort of moved here because my partner Alessa had moved here and was pretty interested in the valley. And then, yeah, there was a job going with Steve here at De Bortoli, and I thought, fuck, that'll be awesome. I'd love to do that. So, yeah, I think to touch on just why De Bortoli, well, I think, I'd always grown up around much.
You said you had your second generation, both of your parents are very well known and very well respected within the industry. So you probably had what, could be considered to be the choice of where you wanted to work. If you were like, hey, do you know who my dad is?
Yeah, and I think, they were, to be honest, they were very careful about that. And actually, it's funny, they were kind of telling me not to go in the wine industry as a kid. Like, I really had to push.
Yeah. Because
I just loved it, right? And they have been the most supportive parents. They just wanted me to do whatever makes me happy and just wanted me to work really hard. So yeah, I guess when the opportunity came to come and work with Steve here at De Bort's, I think I was really excited because I spoke to a few industry people and they just said, mate, that's the spot if you really want to sink your teeth in and learn.
Yeah.
Because as Steve said, it's very supportive of young people, and he's really willing to give people a go and kind of let them flourish if they've got ideas. And I certainly feel like he's allowed me to do that thus far. And I've only been here for 18 months, but already feel like I've learned so much. And
he said 3 to 5 years, so you've only got 12 to 36 left before he's going to show you the door.
Don't have much left.
Well, tell us about what is in this glass, because it is smelling and looking lovely.
No, I just thought we'd grab this. This is our 2025 Dixon's Creek Sangiovese. So it comes from a vineyard just behind us, basically, over the hill. And we really love the wine. It's been a bit longer on skins this year than it might have done in the past. And yeah, it's just showing really beautifully, really aromatic, lots of tannin, lots of depth. Just
so the Italian varietals, you think, are what's sort of, pushing forward. I mean, it's probably a question for both of you, really. Like, the Italian varietals are what's pushing forward in the Yarra a little bit more over the past few years and going forward, do you feel?
Yeah, look, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, I think, we planted, Sangiovese and Nebbiolo, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So we've had, we've made various, so we've made various wines out of it, and some have been fantastic and some have been average. But, Jai's very interested in Italian varieties. Yeah, made a Nebbiolo, I think, aren't you, Jai?
Yeah, no, I love Nebbiolo, and it's funny, I think this year was really quite poised to have a crack at Neb. It hadn't been done for a while here, so it was nice to have a go, and I think we've actually made some really cool wines. So
I guess that's what it's about, right? Like with the next generation and the new wave coming through, and I look at it from a retail or a consumer point of view, not so much from a winemaking point of view, but you have to be ahead of the game now. You can't be buying and selling what people are drinking now. You have to look at what's coming next. And I think for you guys, it's probably even more so with climate change and everything, and disease and pressure and phylloxera and God knows what else is going around here in the Yarra. You really have to be on your toes from a much earlier point. Like if you've just planted Nebbiolo now, how long before you get usable grapes off that vine?
Well,
if you planted it today, how long would take?
Probably 6 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
It depends on the site. I mean, it's so variable. You'd probably say 5 to 10 years before it's starting to really show well.
Yeah. So really for 10 years, you're just carrying a block of land with some wines on it and spending money on it without actually getting any reward from it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I think, look, one of the things about, sort of young vines is they can produce fantastic wine. It might not be wines that live forever, but, they can produce, really lovely, bright, juicy, smashable.
Which is what the younger generation of wine drinkers really want to drink at the moment. Well, they call it smashable, gluggable.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what they're after, right? Like this.
Yeah.
This has a little bit more texture, a little bit more structure, really good tannin, really good bite.
Yeah.
And look, one of the reasons we've isolated this particular vineyard is to blend in our Cabernet programs. We want to blend some Cabernet and Sangiovese, and this sort of jives real interest to put some of these sort of really interesting Cabernet blends together using some Italian varieties as they would in Bulgaria and places like that in Italy. So.
Well, the more we blend into Cabernet, the better, in my opinion. No, well, that was fantastic. So obviously, the history in winemaking, in wineries, you got these massive, large wooden vats. All right, how many litres are these?
They're about 5,000 litres.
5,000 litres. Then they also have stainless steel, which is at the other end of the winery, and on that side, which you can see there, which probably range from probably more in terms of thousands of litres, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and then obviously these are Jai's new bad boys. These are the concrete fermenters. Right, Steve referred to them as Jai's new toys. All right, so when he says that, I would it'd be great to tell us why concrete.
Yeah.
How big they are, what's the thought process behind it, what do you hope to achieve from, come next to me, what do you hope to achieve out of these?
I mean, there's a few things, right? Like you touched on different vessels, and I think it's really important that we talk about that, because I think, with oak becoming so expensive and hard to get, we're really looking at other vessels, and we find just from chatting to people and seeing people out in the industry that concrete is a really beautiful way to mature and age wine. So we were really interested to see what we could do with these, particularly for fermenting reds, but also maturing reds. They're really beautiful because they regulate heat really well, and they impart very little, I guess, vessel flavour on the wine, maybe some structure, but ultimately you're getting the air that you need to mature wines nicely without all of the spaff that goes with oak in a lot of ways. So
how thick's the concrete?
It'd be probably 4 to 6 inches.
Okay, so 100 to 150 mil roughly. I know Chris, our film here, knows what inches are. He's from that side of the
20.
world. And obviously they hold how many litres?
These are 4,000 litres.
So that would equate to roughly, 5,500 bottles?
Yep.
Okay, give or take. Yeah. And what varieties are you most excited to put into these?
There's a few things. I mean, Cabernet, I think for long maturation, long fermentation would be really cool. Like you're getting a little bit of air, you can lock these down. So being able to keep Cabernet on skins for a long time would be pretty amazing. But also things like Nebbiolo. I think Nebbiolo is such a delicate wine, but has so much tannin, right? So you want to be able to oxidize it gently, and that's what these can do. So I think, you've got to be very careful with treating it, but you also want to tame the tannins a lot. So I think that could be really interesting. But even for finishing wines, like finishing white wines, they're a really good settling vessel. So multifaceted, I guess.
And what's going on with this one here? Like there's a lot of machinery here.
So it's a bit of a mess at the moment, but basically we're just seasoning them. So we've only had them for a week, but you need to season them quite rigorously with with some acid solution just to build up a layer before you put wine in them.
To protect because it's a porous, very porous
That's
material.
That's it. So
I know the concreting from my carpentry days, right? You know,
yeah,
screed a bit of concrete in my time.
It's the exact same.
It's literally the same thing, just painted black.
That's it.
Any reason why they're black, or just for looks?
I think it's just for looks, and I'm kind of wondering they probably need something on the front of them.
Probably need a big Bortoli logo on them, I reckon.
Yeah, that's it.
You know? And maybe you can, scratch your name into them as well. You know, Jai Harrop. So there we go. Some new concrete tank toys over there, 4,000 litres. Jai to muck around with. The old school. Look at it from a different angle, like how I do. Is that the older generations, and 35 years ago when Steve started, if you would have said to him, "We're going to chuck everything in a concrete tank," they probably would have laughed you out of. Even though like in the Barossa and places like Seppeltsfield and stuff, they did have massive concrete, but they're still lined, right? They didn't use the actual concrete.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like the next gen, and what are you, 25?
25.
25, right? So that next wave coming through are like already, let's just get wine out of oak barrel if we can sometimes, and put them into steel, concrete, ceramic, eggs. Like there's a whole different array.
I think, oak's still really important. I still love oak, but I think just having some variability in the wine, like I kind of think that having less vessel character and more vineyard character is the way to go. So kind of hedging your bets and having a few different things in different places can be really interesting.
Awesome. Let's go out. So we're out now in the vineyard. We've got the A5 block here, Chardonnay.
Correct, yeah, A5.
Oh, Chardonnay King. Look at those beautiful old vines. Now, obviously, we're on the road here, and I'm not going to go into the vineyard because I think it's a really important message for people, especially in the Yarra Valley, with all the pressure that we have, with a crazy little bug called phylloxera.
Yeah, we do have a problem with it here. It sort of came out. It's come out in waves a few times, but the last big wave was in the 70s, and I think, it's something that we're really scared of because it's a pretty voracious little bug that will basically destroy a vine if it gets into it.
Because it eats the roots, right? Like it kills the roots from underground. So there's nothing, you can't see the little bugs on the trees, or they look like little aphids, but they go down underground into the root system and kill the vine from its life source, basically.
Yeah, and I think it's a really important thing to note because it's so easily spreadable. Luckily these days there are vine variants, rootstocks we call them, which are American roots, American vines that actually are not susceptible to phylloxera. And anyone planting vineyards these days in the Yarra or in most places are certainly using those rootstocks. But the vineyard we're looking at here, A5, is actually still own-rooted.
And planted when?
1976.
Okay.
So one of the older blocks.
So going on 50 years next year.
Yeah.
So if phylloxera was to come into this vineyard behind me, obviously, you've got near on 50 years of winemaking history and vine age, providing really highly structured Chardonnays, which I love personally. And it would literally decimate this whole vineyard in a matter of no time, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And then you can't plant for a long time either, can you?
Yeah, I think, and as I said, you can certainly, I certainly feel like it's a real treat to have these blocks, and we're very lucky that it doesn't have bad phylloxera. I mean, the thing about phylloxera is it can stay dormant for a while. You can actually get a lot of time out of vines. They can have it for years and years and years and not actually go down. So this probably has it in some parts, maybe down in some of the bottom or some on the other side, but yeah, we're still making fruit and wine from it, and we'll continually do so until it shuts down. But yeah,
it's so beautiful when they're all dormant now, right? Like
they're
all pruned now and all done.
That's it.
Ready to have a long sleep until the weather gets better.
That's
actually not that cold today. Let's be honest.
It's pretty balmy. It's nice.
All right. Just how many vessels there are. Like we're in we're in a large scale winery. How many thousand bottles do you make a year?
Anywhere between sort of, what would it be? 2 to 2.5 million, I'd say here.
Now you can talk about the clay egg.
Yeah.
Getting the wine.
Well, let's have a look at that actually.
that red wine out of my glass and get this lovely white wine into my glass, I reckon. I mean, obviously now we're in the Chardonnay room, so we know what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
And it's coming out of this. And what is this?
Yes, this is a clay amphora, and it's something that we use pretty extensively in red wine, but starting to use more in white wine as well. So we find that it just, again, imparts some different texture, some different weight, and the wine tends to age at a different rate in a clay egg rather than in a barrel. So again,
less oxygen ingress?
I think it's... Yeah, get that out of the way.
We're all going to be professional film crew in about a year's time. We'll all be professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us, oxygen, less, more, what do you know about it?
I think for the size, yes, like maybe compared to a barrique, absolutely yes, there's less oxygen, you know, it's more surface area, but it's still enough to kind of let it go on a pretty nice journey. So
it's got like a little bit like, not sandy, it's not the right word, gravelly. Like it's grippy, though, it's bitey.
Yeah.
A little bit more textural.
Yeah, it's a really, I find the tannins are almost finer. Like it has a finer texture than, like it's still prominent and, as you say, grippy, but compared to oak, there's a fineness to it, which is...
And then for the new people, or the people like just learning or trying to learn, tannins, so that drying sensation in the mouth, which you associate with like heavy red wines, say, or Italian red wines, is also found in white wines and comes from the skins. But because you don't age the wines on skin with white wine, generally, you don't find these aggressive tannin structures.
And you'll usually describe them as phenolics as well. We'll talk more phenolics than tannins.
Yeah, and phenolics are?
Phenolics are the natural grape-derived compounds that give you texture.
Okay, there you go.
And everything for that matter, but...
So we're here to educate and entertain. Oh, no, which block is this? Which Chardonnay is this?
So this is actually A5, which we were just out having a look at. Yeah, it's 25 A5. So full Malo.
Very good.
Just left to do its thing really, and we really love it.
I mean, we tasted through most of these.
We did.
The other one, like 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and this was, I think, all of our favourites out of all the ones that we tried from memory.
Yeah, it's a real. I think the vine age really shows like the quality in this wine. Like the block supersedes everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the first blocks we pick every year, which kind of goes against what you generally think about wine quality and ripening time, but we just really love it. It's really detailed, it's textural, it's pretty, it's terrific.
Have you got a brand new oak barrel?
We do, yeah.
So we've obviously got a range here. We've got older barrels, which you can see have been used a few times. You've got new, but well, either first fill or second. That looks like a first fill.
Yeah, that's a first fill there.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try that. I'll get up here.
Maybe.
Try that.
Yeah, try that. Be safe.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Hardwood under here, mate. Solid as. And these are 500 litres?
These are, yeah. So these are called puncheons.
Puncheon. 500 litres equals puncheon.
So we're just going to shift gear. We're going up to Lusatia Park, which is our premier Upper Yarra Vineyard, and probably my favourite vineyard, really. Like,
probably a good 30 minutes from here too, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, you know, you're very familiar with the Upper Yarra, but it's certainly, it feels like a different region to Dixon's Creek.
Yeah.
The soils are very different. It's cooler.
Fruit profile's almost like a little bit more to that stone fruity, like leaning in. There's obviously the spice and like baking spice, I guess. You know, that vanilla-y tone. It's not really vanilla though, is it? Like it's...
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it is a new barrel, so you get a lot more texture, a lot more crunch, I guess, in the palate. And
and more weight too. Like it feels like denser. Whereas, you know, the amphora had what, you know, I would describe as a little bit more like savoury nuance and like sandy, gravelly texture. This is, you know, obviously I put it in my mouth and say, but I could already tell by the nose that it's going to be like richer.
Yeah, for sure. And as I said, we love the versatility and we love the spread. You know, we don't want to be just doing puncheons or just doing barriques or just being set in one way. We really like having diversity and
when you sit down and do the barrel allocations, that's it's
a
fair event.
It's awesome. And I think, you know, we try these wines every other day. Like I'm down here trying them as much as I possibly can because they're ever evolving. They're always changing.
Favourite little barrels, you know, good little mark on them. Like, I mean, I've been to a lot of wineries now and you look at, you know, like just the chalk marking or the ticks or the 2 ticks, you know, or the certain wineries where they, you know, have favourites and they have, you know, this one's been through full Malo, this one hasn't been through full Malo, this one's not going to go, this is full of solids, you know, like there's always, you know, it's like, this is like a sacred place for you guys. It's almost like probably your favourite spot to be, right, in the barrel room.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a bit dark, but other than that, it's pretty nice. Yeah.
Play music in here? Do you play music to the barrels?
We do. Yeah. Some of the cellar hands crank some music in here. It's good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. That was great.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So we've moved here into the tasting room where we've got a completely clear bench. Last time there was like, what, 15 bottles on this bench? And I walked into a barrage of tastings. I've brought a mystery bottle of wine for Jai to try. I mean, I've hidden the bottle so he doesn't see it. I have told him though that it's from the region. It's from the Yarra Valley. I probably shouldn't have. Probably should have put him on the spot, but I'm not here to make him look bad. I'm trying to make him look good actually. So we're going to help him out here. But Jai, I wanted to ask you, we'll talk about Chardonnay because everybody knows that Chardonnay is my favourite grape by the length of any straight going in the world. What is something about Chardonnay that people say that you may think is like a myth or that's a little bit wrong, or that you want people to understand a little bit more about it?
I think maybe Malo. Malo's an interesting thing. I think people associate Malo with richness and creaminess and all these sorts of things. And I think in part that's true, but I think you can certainly make Malo converted, fermented, however you want to say it, wines that are really fresh and delicious. So I think...
So we're talking malolactic fermentation. So we're talking about the conversion of...
malic acid to lactic acid.
Okay, so we're talking about going from like racy, sharp, like unripe Granny Smith apples, perhaps we'll call it, to like a Royal Gala or a Pink Lady apple, like a little bit more round, like almost towards like that pear sort of, a bit more mouthfeel. So that's what we're talking about when he says, that common misconception, you're right, is that malolactic conversion or fermentation in wines makes them rich, buttery. I don't like rich Chardonnay, but you give them a Chablis and they're like, oh, it's my favourite wine in the world.
Exactly. So I mean, I just think there's many clever winemakers out there using Malo and still making these really racy, intense, sharp Chardonnays.
It comes down to like everything, doesn't it? Like, everyone thinks you're a winemaker and you've got a bit of culturalist, and that's obviously in essence that is true, but you would spend a lot of time in the vineyard and with the viticulture team.
We do, and we're very lucky to have a pretty amazing viticulturalist, Rob Sutherland, who he's a proper viticulturalist. He really understands vine balance, physiology, soil health, the whole lot, but he also loves wine. And I think
probably doesn't have a mobile phone either, because I find a lot of viti guys don't have a mobile phone. You never contact them.
He would say that about me. He's always saying, I can never get a hold of you, which is bad.
Well, I mean, you guys are all, it's opposite of me. You can always get a hold of me, that's for sure. But I brought something in here, right? And I don't mean to cut you off, but I want you to tell me, or tell the viewers about this. Obviously I know what it is, but I'd like you to tell them how you would go about assessing this wine. As a younger person, there's this, this whole method of deductive tasting and yada, 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 and booklets. But how do you go about doing it? You've probably been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, my friends, my family, we all love playing options and we love the fun of it. I mean, I certainly don't get too competitive with it. There are a lot of people who get very competitive.
Well, there's no options here. You're going to go all out. I'm not going to give you any options. Yeah. I've given you an option and said one, it's from the Yarra. That's about all I've given you.
Well, I mean, the way I would start is just looking at first the nose, like, is it fruitful? Is it structured? Is there oak? Does it feel like it's been handled really heavily? Or is it something that's kind of light, fresh drink now, not much maturation? I look at this, I smell this. There's lots of fruit. There's not a lot of oak aromatically. It's quite structured. I don't quite know what it is. I don't think it's Chardonnay though, which is interesting. It probably is, but I don't think it is, and I think
don't play the man. Don't play the man.
It certainly looks like it's got some of these almost savvy, maybe semi characters. Perhaps it's down that path. I'm not quite sure.
It's quite dense too, isn't it? Like if you look at the, you probably can't see that on the actual camera, but like those legs are running slowly and thickly down the glass.
But it's got a bit of lychee and some of those riper, juicy fruit characters. So, yeah, okay, I think it's a Sauvignon Blanc based wine. I think it's not that old. Maybe it's a 2019. It feels warm. Well, maybe it's a bit younger. I'll say 2021 Sauv Blanc based.
You can give it to him.
Bang.
And turn it around to him.
Viognier. Wow, there you go.
Sermos 24 Yarra Valley Viognier.
Awesome.
But I mean, like, I get what you're saying, right? like things. But I tried to give you the clue then too with the hint with the denseness.
Yeah,
I was like, there's that like really dense, ripe, that warm, you know. And 2024 as a vintage was
pretty good,
represented well.
And I think, you know, that's a really well handled wine. I think that's lovely. It's not overly oily.
Yeah,
it's got density, but it's certainly not going into that.
So got that freshness, right? Like, I mean, you call it Sav, right? Yeah. So we're going to go like you're looking for like light style drink now, like fresh, but it's also like it is dense and textural.
Yeah, but I was certainly thinking that more Sancerre kind of style of like Sav that's been pushed out and aged on lees and that sort of thing. So
wow, that's been epic. Well,
really,
I want to say a massive thanks to Jai. I mean, you know, they've probably got a lot of work to do to sit here and talk to me for an hour and taste wine with me, but it really does mean a lot. In this week's episode, Dan doesn't know it yet, but we're going to be giving away a 6-pack of the Bortoli Wines. So you're okay with that? He's nodding, right? So, because every episode we're going to do a giveaway. Please like, comment. You must comment in order to go into the draw, and subscribe. It really is a way for me to evolve. You know, obviously we are like a 2-man team filming this. We've got our phones. You know, little microphones are here somewhere. We want to really up the ante here. We want to give you guys really good insights and really, really good content. And I hope this has been educational, a little bit, you know, of comedy in there as well. I like to think we're pretty funny blokes, you know, young and old. So, you know, we can bounce off each other.
You are pretty old.
I mean, I am. Yeah, I mean, geez, I turned 40 this year, I tell you what. But please, you know, comment, follow, subscribe, and, you know, make a comment below to go in the draw to win a 6-pack of the Bortoli Wines. And massive thanks to Jai. And I'm sure you'll be seeing more of him, because I think we could do some more wine tasting stuff with a bunch of the young winemakers. I think that'd make a pretty cool episode. And we'll go from there. So cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
And we're out.
Thanks for having me.